Yo guys, Crescent here. Welcome to another build video. Today I'll be showing you a PVE tanking build video. Yes, you heard it right, PVE tank build video. There are two reasons why I'm doing this build video at this moment. Because the first reason is I just recently finished WeHoff, obviously veteran, and I feel like I'm ready because I finished all the content in the game already, besides the hard mode obviously, but I couldn't be asked because I'm a PvP guy. So yeah, for me, I just feel like I'm ready to show you what I use for tanking. It's kind of like an optimal build, but I wouldn't say it's the best, you have to use this and everything, because tanking is a really open subject. You know, you can use a lot of different sets and you can make it work as long as your teammate is surviving and you have the boss aggro. That is all you need to do, that's all. So I feel like tanking department, it's kind of free for all. You can use what you want, but I'll just show you what I use, and I feel like this is a really good setup for tanking. Okay, and the second reason is it's kind of funny reason. So I was cooking in the kitchen, and then I finished cooking already. My rice, my chili con carne, everything is ready, and then I was just cleaning up the tins, because you when you open tin, there are some substance inside, you need to clean up. So I just cleaned up, and then I was flickering the water away because I have to dry it, the tin, before putting it into the recycle bin and everything. So I was flickering, and I didn't notice my finger was in the way, and you know the lid of the tin is really sharp, and I just scraped through my whole finger, and yeah, the skin kind of came off a bit, and there's a lot of blood. So it was pretty funny because my whole finger was numbed and I don't feel the pain anymore. But after I clean it up and I use some bandages and everything, the plaster and everything, then only the pain started to come. Especially when I'm gaming and when I use a bit of pressure on the finger to press a button. I'm using a mechanical keyboard, so I don't need to use a lot of pressure to press a button, even though that tiny pressure, I can just feel the sharp pain in my finger. That's why I kind of feel like, okay, this is the time to do a PvE tanking build video or something, because you don't need to press a lot of buttons, I guess, compared to PvP. Yeah, so that's the second reason. Okay, funny jokes aside, lame jokes aside, let's hop straight into the sets. Okay, yeah, before I go straight into the sets, I'll categorize 3 categories. I'll say easy, intermediate, and hard tanking. Okay, in easy mode, I'll put all the non-DLC dungeons, the veteran or normal dungeons, into easy mode, and White Gold Tower and Imperial City Prison. All these dungeons, 4-man dungeons, are the easiest in my opinion, so I'll categorize them as easy mode dungeons. And the intermediate dungeon will be VDSA, Dragonstar Arena, VCOS, VROM, Veteran Bloodroot Forge, and Veteran Falcon Hold. All the 4 new DLC dungeons and VDSA. I would say this is the intermediate dungeon for tanking. So it's not super hard, it's not super easy, you need to know mechanics and stuff like that. So I'll categorize that as the intermediate. Okay, and for the hard mode would be especially the hard mode of trials, certain trials that are quite challenging for tanking. I would say obviously VMOR and VHOF, because it's kind of like, you know, a lot of mechanics and stuff like that. So I just put these 2 dungeons in these trials into the hard mode. And obviously there are trials like VAA is sometimes could be challenging as well, Sanctum sometimes maybe. So it's usually trials, hard mode trials are, I would say, on the upper level, because there are one-shot mechanics and stuff like that. So I'll put that into the more difficult level. So there are 3 levels: easy, intermediate, and hard mode. And I'll just go into different sets that you need to use in different categories. Okay, so for the easy mode, let's go straight into the easy mode. I am using but okay, this is not the easy mode, sorry. Let me just slot my Alkosh super quickly. Okay, now I got 5 piece Alkosh. Okay, this is correct. So the monster helm, for every single dungeon I always use only 2 monster helm. The first is Bloodspawn. This is my favorite because high Audi regen means you can use more Warhorn, which means more damage for your friends, and more HP, more resources, everything really good. And when you use ultimate, you get back resources as well. That's why I feel like Bloodspawn is one of the best for tanking. Exception, there are one set that I sometimes use as well. I only use 2 monster helm. You can use different sets, obviously it's up to you, but I feel like Lord Warden is pretty good as well defensively. It's really good for your teammate as well. and it procs like crazy. Every 10 seconds it procs, and there's a 10-second cooldown, so this is close to 100% uptime. Obviously the spell resistance and physical resistance is pretty darn good as well. Okay, so the sets. The first set we'll be using is Torok Spec. I feel like this is a must-have for every single category. You have to use Torok Spec in my build, because I feel like this, I did some theory on the sets already, and I feel like Torok Spec is the best set for every tank. It's one of the must-have, this set. I'm not even joking. Yes, it gives you spell damage, which is pretty shitty, and spell resistance is just meh. It's alright, it's nice to have, but the thing is the 5th piece bonus, which is pretty important, because if you look at my sword now, I'm using a Crusher enchantment, okay? So I'll just explain it super quickly, okay? Crusher enchantment has a cooldown of 10 seconds, okay? And it somebody's hitting behind, it's a bit noisy, but doesn't matter. So it reduces the physical and spell resistance by 5 seconds, only 5 seconds. With Infuse Sword, you can reduce it by 50%, so it's only 5 seconds cooldown, while you do 5 seconds reduction. But there's obviously in between, you need time to do light attack to apply the Crusher enchantment. So there's a downtime like 1 or 2, 3 seconds, maybe something like that. With the Torok Spec, it reduces the cooldown by another 30%. So 30% more. So the cooldown is now like only 3.5 seconds. So every 3.5 seconds you can apply Crusher enchantment, and Crusher enchantment has a 5 seconds duration. So with that, you can apply 2.6k reduction for physical and spell resistance with 100% uptime. That's why it's so powerful. That is the front bar. We will be using Crusher enchantment. That's why Torok Spec is a must-have. And on the back bar, we'll be using obviously Torok Spec as well, the sword and board with 3-piece body armor. And we'll be using Weakening enchantment just to reduce the damage, weapon damage and spell damage of the boss, which is kind of good. Defensive. It's kind of defensive enchantment. Okay, so the second set we'll be using, I think I haven't mentioned it yet, is Alkosh. There are 2 sets that I prefer to use in easy mode dungeon. Remember, this is for easy mode dungeons, so you want to do damage. Alkosh is good because it gives you minus slayer, so you do more damage, and it's a second debuff set, reduces physical and spell damage by close to 3k. Okay, so this set is good if you have a mixture of maybe like a stamina or magicka class. Alkosh is really powerful. Obviously, you want to put Alkosh rings because in easy mode dungeon, it doesn't really matter. You don't need to have a lot of HP. 2.4, 2.5k is definitely enough. Some might say even 2.2k is enough for tanking, but I will say maybe go up to 2.5k is pretty good. And what you want to use is obviously 3 shield plate enchantment for every build, because you're a tank. You need to reduce the cost of blocking and reduce the cost of bashing. You can do more damage, doesn't really matter. Okay, so this is for the easy mode, and there's a second set that you could use instead of Alkosh. If you don't have Alkosh, I would say Thunderflame is pretty powerful as well. It's good especially when you have a physical dealing damage DD. So like, because it doesn't reduces the magical resistance of enemy, only reduces the physical resistance. That's why if you have like a two stamina builds DD, Thunderflame is definitely better. And remember that you need to press the synergy for Alkosh to be applied. So it has like a, I would say maybe if you're good enough, 60% to 70% uptime on Alkosh, more or less. If you're using Thunderflame, you can have like 100% uptime. That's why it's so powerful, Thunderflame, especially if you have a stamina DD. So I switch it around, Thunderflame or Alkosh, really up to you. Okay, this is for the easy mode dungeon. Easy mode dungeons are really easy because, yeah, there's not a lot of one-shot mechanics. And for the intermediate, which is VDSA, V-Cost, V-ROM, Bloodroot Forge, and Falcon Hope, all these dungeons, obviously hard mode I'm mentioning now, you obviously need to keep the monster helm you use, either Lord Warden or Bloodspawn. That is what I use, and Torok Spec is the same, but we will be taking away Alkosh or Thunderflame. We won't be using them. Instead, we will be using this set called Airborne set. Okay, so we use the 3 jewelries on the body, the Airborne set jewelry, and you put another 2 more pieces body on the, 2 more pieces either on body or legs or anything you like. I forgot to mention that for the traits, you want to use all sturdy if possible. 7 sturdy if you have it, just use 7 sturdy because it reduces the block reduction, the cost of the block reduction, which is the the cost of blocking, sorry, which is really important. But some people like to use reinforce on the heavy pieces like body, head, shoulder or legs. That is a good option as well, I would say. Reinforce is a really good option as well. But for me, I'll just go all sturdy. Maybe on the body you could use reinforce because body gives you a lot of resistance. Okay, I'll just equip the Aben set. Yeah, I don't have the correct enchantment but on the jewelry, but whatever. You want to make sure you use cost reduction cost for blocking. Okay, so I have now about 3.4k, more or less 3.3k, 33k or 34k health, which is good enough. So in this kind of dungeons, you want to reach at least 30k health in DSA, VCOS, VROM, or like Falconhole and Bloodroot Forge. This kind of intermediate dungeon, which is not super hard and not super easy, you want to have like a 30k plus health minimum. So what I use is my Torox pack. I have the wrong setup, sorry, let me just put it up really quickly. Okay, now I have correct. Yeah, Aben. Alright, yeah, now it's correct. 5 piece Aben, 5 piece Torox. Yeah. So for this kind of dungeon, I use either Aben or Plague Doctor with Torox pack. This is what I use for this dungeon. Okay, and for the hard mode dungeon, which are the hard mode in trials, in different trials, VHOF, VMO and all those trials, what I use is I take away Aben set and I use Plague Doctor, the set that gives you a lot of health. So I'll put Plague Doctor on body like usual and leave feet, jewelries and all. So what I use is I use Torox pack and I use Plague Doctor. Obviously there are situations where the off tank might use Aben. If you're off tanking, you might use Aben. It's really up to you, but I feel like the basics for you to have for the safest method is just use Plague Doctor, get that close to 40k health, and then use Torox pack as well. So you will go a lot of health. You have like, for me, I'm on the low side, I have only 38k HP. The reason being I have only 38k HP is because I put my attribute are all in stamina, because you know I'm a PvPer, so I don't really PvE more than I PvP. So that's why I put into stamina and didn't change that since like forever. But for you, if you really want to, and you use all glyphs health, obviously, but you want to try to hit 40k, I would say, for the hardest trials. You want to hit the 40k health, which is, I would say, the minimum. That will be a nice spot, a sweet spot, 40k health. Obviously some people like to go up to 60, 50. I feel like that is just redundant. You don't need that much health. If you know the mechanics, 40k is good enough, definitely. So obviously for me, what I could improve is I could just put all health into everything. But obviously, like I mentioned, I'm PvP most of the time, so I put more into health, more into stamina. Okay. So these are the sets. What else did I miss? I didn't miss anything, I think, about the sets. Yeah, these are all the sets I use in different kind of situations. And I'll just go through the food and everything. The food and the potions. Potions, you want to use Tri-Step Potion. I don't have it now on me. There's another potion which is quite powerful as well. The Speed Potions, I don't have it on me as well. So those kind of Speed Potions are really good in situations where you need to kite the boss. Speed Potions are pretty good as well. Obviously, you need to, I think it's kind of like a must-have, Tri-Step Potion, because you need to get that max magicka up to use more magicka spells for buffing or debuffing. That's why I feel like Tri-Step food is the best. And Mundus Stone, yeah. To be honest, Mundus Stone you shouldn't use Thief like me, which is a really bad choice. You should definitely go for the health Mundus Stone, in my opinion. Either health or stamina, max stamina or max health Mundus Stone. These two are the best. Yeah, I think health is the best, definitely. Then you can either go magicka or stamina, Mundus Stone. These two are the second best. I'll definitely go for health. Okay, and before I go into the skills, I'll just like to mention what race you should be, but it doesn't really matter, to be honest, because it doesn't play such a big role into your tanking abilities. It's all about the mechanics, like I mentioned just now. The best race would be Argonian, in my opinion, okay? Argonian and Nod, because Nod has damage reduction, Argonian has healing increase, healing receive and healing done increase, and Argonian has really good passive that gives you basically free resource, even more resources when you use a potion. That's why it's super powerful, Argonian. These two are the top tier, Nod and Argonian. The second tier would be what I'm using now, Red Guard. Red Guard gives you some when you do direct damage, you get some stamina back, which is pretty helpful as well. And the next one would be Imperial. Imperial is okayish because it gives you a lot of health and max stamina, if I'm not mistaken. And when you do damage, I think it's melee damage, you get 10% in health, 10% health bonus health. I think basically you just get back health recovery when you do damage. That's why I think like these two are the second tier, which is Red Guard and Imperial, and all others are the same. To be honest, you can even do in a high elf or dark elf, doesn't really matter, to be honest. Okay, so I'll go through the skills now. This is what I use now. This for the easiest dungeon. Obviously you can switch it around. Let me just switch it back to the easiest dungeon. Just give me a minute, half a minute or so. Just wouldn't use this skill. Usually I would use a little bit of damage, which is assault. Okay, 0 drops. Okay, caltrops. Alright, so this is for the easy mode. Easy mode, there are a few skills that you need to have, must have, okay? Pierce armor is a must have, obviously. Debuff, absorb magic, block cost, must have. Pull is a must have as well. Relenting grip, igneous shield is a must have. Vigor is a must have as well. Warhorn is a must have. This bar is like, all these skills on this bar is a must have. Back bar, inner beast is a must have as well. Your range taunt, heroic slash is a must have as well. Ulti regen, and apply minor mayhem as well, really powerful. And volatile armor is a must have as well, because if you use volatile armor, if you look at the passive on this bar, okay, you will gain 12% healing receive with Daedric power ability active. So this is your volatile armor. That's why it's super powerful. Okay, there are two and then the ultimate is really up to you what you could use. I would use usually two different ultimate, either Spare Wall or what do you call it, corrosive. Corrosive gives you like a invulnerability for 10 seconds, which is really powerful as well. So these two are the ultimate on the back bar. If you want to do more damage, standard would be quite good as well, but it's really up to you, okay? And what I use now, these two slots are like a free spot, okay? For easy mode dungeon, I would use caltrops and I would use igneous weapon. So I buff up myself and can do a bit more damage on caltrops, AoE damage, really good. Okay, for intermediate dungeon, for like what I mentioned just now, the VDSA and all those stuff, you could definitely go something more defensive. You could put Green Dragon Blood instead. You could use Choking Talons instead. You get that AoE from minor mayhem AoE. Reduces all the damage done by the enemy that you affected by Choking Talons by 15% for 6 seconds, which is really good. So yeah, there are a few skills as well, obviously. But I think this is most of the skills that we will use in intermediate dungeon. And for the hard mode trials and dungeons, it's really up to you. There are a lot of skills that are really powerful, but sometimes you need to use, for example, if you're rushing, you might want to use Retrieving Maneuver as a tank, really important. And you don't want to use Choking Talons for sure. There are a few skills that are super important that people don't mention a lot. The first one would be Alliance War Support. Yeah, Purge. Efficient Purge. I don't have it morph, but whatever. So you want to use Efficient Purge because some dots are really that deals a lot of damage on you. So you need Efficient Purge to clear them, especially in I think Wehoff, that's one of the boss that will do a really hard hitting dot. You need to purge it, you need to cleanse it. Healers can't babysit you forever, so sometimes you need to do it yourself. And obviously, sometimes guard is pretty good as well. So you could take out one of the skills from the front bar and put it on the back bar and just use guard. So guard is really underrated sometimes as well, especially if your main tank, if you are off tank and you want to guard your main tank, you want to reduce the damage taken from your main tank, guard is super powerful. And then there's one more skill. I think, yeah, not many people know this, but I don't even have it, to be honest. It's equilibrium. So basically what you exchange is you exchange health to Magicka. Because a lot of stamina decay tanking skills are in Magicka form, so you need a lot of Magicka to use them skills. So equilibrium is super powerful as well, especially combined, because if you're using efficient purge, it costs like 5k Magicka, and it costs a lot. Sometimes you don't have it and your potion is down, you want to use equilibrium to gain that Magicka back and then just cleanse it. Yeah, so these are all the skills that you need to have. I don't even have it, so yeah, my major skill is not high level enough. I need rank 8. Maybe I'll just go grind it, go get all those mage books. But whatever, I survived without it. So far, I think it's not a must-have, but it's a really nice skill to have, equilibrium. Okay, so I mentioned all the skills. I'll go through the CP now. I changed. I'm gonna be super honest with you guys. Usually when I tank, I'll be using my PvP CP to tank because I feel like that is enough for me. It doesn't really affect it too much. But now I spend I got the money, so I just spend 3,000 and change it around for PVE. Sorry. Obviously, different situation you need to change your CP again. For example, if you're fighting something that is using a lot of ground AoE, you know, like Magicka damage ground AoE, you want to maybe put more points into dot damage reduction and, you know, Magicka damage reduction and stuff like that. But overall, I'll just give you a footprint on what you could use for every single dungeon, okay, for tanking. Warlock 34, because sometimes you need to break free from CC, really important. Bashing focus 21. Obviously you need to bash, you need to interrupt stuff, so bashing focus is pretty good to reduce the cost. Tenacity, you could put more into this, but 43 is good enough for me because it doesn't scale well at all. Tenacity, it got nerfed, that's why I put 43 points, 43 into Mooncalf, 31 into Tumbling, and 48 into Shadow Art. Okay, Bless 19. Bless is really good because you get more healing. More healing is always good. Physical damage, Physical Weapon Expert, because you use a lot of heavy attacks to get back resources, so Physical Weapon Expert is it's worth it, and it skills really well. 21 points and you get 13%. Super awesome. Mastered Arm 66, Berserk Strike 51, 14 Piercing, 49 into Mighty. Berserk Strike, I put so much into it, even with low crit, is because it gives you bigger crit heals, that's all. That's the main reason. Okay, Ironclad 66, 37 into Thick Skin, 49 Hardy, 49 Elemental Defender. Like I mentioned just now, you could switch it around depending on what boss you are fighting, but I feel like with this setup, it's good enough, to be honest, for every single boss. 19 the Quick Recovery. Yep, so that's about it for the CP. Yeah, I think I mentioned everything already. I went through the skills, the CP, Food Mundus, everything. So I would just like to give 1 or 2 tips for tanking before I go. Always, while you're tanking, okay, if you're tanking like a lot of mobs or like just a lot of, you know, ads, we call them, you want to pull them all together so your teammate can AoE down. That's the main important thing. Try to pull all the ads together and use a root on them on one position so that they stay on that position. That is the best way to tank. But if you're fighting a boss, for example, you don't want to run too much. You want to, yes, sometimes you need to dodge AoE, you need to dodge some stuff. That's really important. Okay, you do it, but you try to surround the boss so the boss is still looking at you, but it's not moving, it's just turning his head. So I will show you what I mean. For example, oh, why is it lagging a bit? Oh my god, why is it lagging? Whatever. So if this tree is a boss here, so if you want to dodge AoE, I usually just move like that a bit, sidestep the boss. Okay, but you don't want to go 360 degree because the boss then will face your teammate. You want to face the buttock of your boss usually at your teammate, and you just move like that, like 180. So you move away, you turn it around to dodge AoE. That's what you do usually for tanking. super important. Okay, this video has been really long, I think. Hope you enjoy it, hope you learn more about tanking. I might do a tutorial on tanking, maybe not, maybe yes. Depends how well received is this video. Okay, make sure you leave a like for this video, that will be super awesome. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I might do in and out some PVE videos as well, tutorial videos or maybe build videos or basically like that, if I feel comfortable with it. But usually I'll just focus on PvP like usual. Okay, and I'll see you guys in Citadel. Okay, bye bye.